episode of ZoeTv. And again, I'm solo. I don't know what I did to offend my co-host, but I'm left alone, and I like it that way because I'm joined by an amazing guest. Each week, we are so lucky to talk to staff, educators in the community, and obviously our amazing residents. Today, I'm going to introduce you to a gentleman that is going to blow you away. I have got to know this guy through our ZIP program. He's immersed in our 30-day boot camp, and his inspirational story of how he got to Glencroft, all the things he got to do as a kid growing up, inspires me, and I know it's going to inspire you. And with that, we are going to talk to Mr. Joe Hailey. And a lot of you out there have met Joe, seen Joe, and so we thought, man, it's a great opportunity to bring you on, learn a little bit about you, and just here, because you got just words of wisdom. I got some yesterday. You said a nugget that I just clung to all day. So, Joe, thanks for being with us first.
You're welcome, Steve.
I appreciate it. So let's start off with the basics. Where are you from? How'd you get to Glencroft?
I'm originally from California.
Okay.
I was born in a city called Monrovia, outside of Los Angeles. My father was a minister, so we traveled a little bit, and finally settled in a place called Riverside. And Dad bought a little farm outside of Riverside in a city called Rubidoux.
Okay.
So we raised rabbits, chickens. We get a pig every now and then, or a calf, and fatten them up. And that's where I learned I love to eat peanuts, but I sure don't like to raise them. You have to get up before the sun and cover that little blossom on top.
Is that right?
Yeah, when you've got a half acre of peanuts.
You got to work.
Oh, man.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's how he did it anyway. He may have did it the roughest way possible to build character.
To build character.
Yeah.
Wow. So you spent a lot of time in California. That's kind of born and raised out there.
Yes, actually, until I went in the military.
Okay.
And, summers I would come here to Phoenix. I had an uncle, my Uncle James, and he worked for the city of Phoenix all his adult life.
Oh, wow. Doing what? What was he doing?
He was a landscaper.
Okay.
And he drove the big truck, trimming trees and mulching. And so in the summers, he'd put me in that truck with him, helping to build character now.
There you go.
And I'd get behind that truck with his co-captain, and we'd toss those branches in there. And,
oh, my gosh.
And so by the end of the summer, when I went back to California, I could buy my own school clothes and the type of shoes I wanted, and even have money for the matinees. Oh, yeah, I was doing pretty good when I looked around at the other kids.
Man. All right. So what did you grow up wanting to do? I know you obviously had kind of that farm background, and you had that work ethic in place, and you had the spiritual side. What did you want to do growing up?
Well, that was of dual interest to me. I had always loved the performing arts.
Okay.
Growing up in California, you're always at a show or running into actors, performers of some type. And so at a very early age, my first instrument was trumpet. I wanted to be like Satchmo, Louis Armstrong.
There you go. Right.
And so then the other side of me was to protect and serve.
Okay.
So I started watching the Audie Murphy movies and the John Wayne and the Dirty Dozen.
Okay.
And so that's where the dual liking of the military came in and performing. And so my father, seeing the performer in me, on Sundays in church, I usually had a solo, or I was in a church play.
Right, man.
And in school, elementary school, they'd have the talent shows. So I'd always get a spot to sing.
Yeah.
You know, so there I was out there with the bell bottoms and everything and doing a little dance.
I wish we had video of that, man.
And, well, I'm still in the newspaper there.
Are you?
Oh, yeah. You can look up Joe Hailey, child performer, Riverside, California.
Okay. All right.
And
There you are.
they'll tell you,
Okay. All right.
So that's where I started paying a lot of attention to what it took to be successful, what that grind was all about. And so I appreciated my father's form of discipline, plus I had 4 older siblings.
Okay.
So I got a chance.
Are you the youngest?
I'm the youngest of 5.
All right.
And so when I got to go visit my uncle, it was disciplined, but not as stern and not much. If you don't do this, you're gonna go to hell.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed my time with him, and so that's just what brought me up through the years.
Yeah.
And so when I went in the military, it was testing, of course.
Sure.
And they came back and I just followed the instructions, and they said, you scored high enough to where you can pick whatever you want to do.
Wow.
So
what did you choose?
I want to be a performer.
Didn't want to let go of that.
I want to do like Elvis. They said, well, we don't have that. That's the USO. So I settled to be a administration specialist.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that was my first school, and in the military. And yeah, it was somewhat glamorous sitting in the air-conditioned office.
Yeah.
But God, that was so boring.
Now, where were you stationed then? Where was that at?
Okay, I went through school at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I was in Charlie 1-1. And my drill sergeant DeLifus. And so the Otter Murphy came out in me, so I became a platoon guide right out of basic training, during basic training.
Okay.
And then the singing background, he allowed me to call cadence when we went on marches and runs.
Oh, man.
I'm telling you, I was living that dual life. And so from there, I went right over to the admin school, Fort Jackson. And from there, I went to the 528th Maintenance Company. And I knew nothing about heavy equipment. So they said, what if we slotted you somewhere else? Where would you like to go? I didn't know.
Yeah.
And they said, we have a battalion of military police in Denver, Colorado. Would you like to be a military police? Sure, why not?
Sure.
Yeah, so I was shipped off to Fort Carson, Colorado.
Okay.
The detachment I was assigned to was the 220th MP Battalion in Golden, Colorado.
Okay.
And so when I was there, I lived quite a distance. And back then, when it snowed, it snowed.
Yeah.
And it just happens there was a church that I was affiliated with. It was the Bear Valley Church of Christ and Bear Valley School of Preaching. And I said, let me look into that. I know a little something about that.
Yeah, sure.
And so they took me right in. And so I went to classes when I could.
Okay.
I was a bus driver for the ministry when I could.
You've done everything, man.
Well, we all have talents.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and growing up seeing the older kids, there was never no, you can't do it, or no, we can't afford it. It was, okay, we'll look into it. We'll try.
That's cool.
You know, so I had a sister who played just about every instrument there was in high school, and she settled on vocals. Another sister who took home ed and never cooked a thing in her life. And so that's the kind of household we had.
Man,
Yeah.
I tell you. So then what got you finally committed to Arizona full time? When did you come out this way?
Visiting my uncle And then I met a young lady, and so when I would come to see him, I would go visit her. And so after I did my tour, I had met a young lady, and she was from Arizona.
Okay.
And so we married, and I was scheduled to go back to Colorado. But she said, I want to go back home to Arizona. So that's what brought me to Arizona.
Okay. All right. Man. All right. So in conclusion, I mean, I could ask you so many questions, but how did you end up at Glencroft? Let's get
God
there.
Help me with this one. In 2021, I believe it was, or 2020, I'm diabetic.
Okay.
And my sugar had dropped on me. I was taking some college courses, and I sat too long and didn't eat. So I'm making my way to the kitchen, and I got as far as the doorway. And I remember a flash, and it was my father's face in front of me. And then I felt my head hit the door jamb. And at that point, I was out of it, and I fell back into the living room, striking my head on a large mahogany music stand that I had with old CDs and albums and turntables. You remember all that stuff. And I laid in the floor. Sometime later, I could hear police calling my name. And next thing, I was being rolled onto a gurney or put in a sheet and lifted or something, and taken to the hospital, Yavapai Regional Medical Center. And I woke up about a week later, and they told me that I had a traumatic head injury, and there's some brain swelling going on, and we can't treat you here. So we're sending you down to Phoenix.
Okay.
So I came down to Phoenix, and I remember being in one hospital, Abrazio, and another one, I'm not sure where it was. I want to say Thunderbird, but I don't know. And so they came in, and I remember hearing them talk about me. And the doctor said, we're going to have to induce a coma to slow down the brain swelling.
Right.
And I'm laying there, and I'm trying to signal them, what have you, that, no, I don't want to be in a coma. Well, I think I was already in one, I don't know. And so I'm not sure how long I was there, but I wake up, and I was in a rehab center. And so they're finally getting me up, sitting me on the bed, and I remember telling them I want to go home. I'm going out AMA. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I have a home to take care of. So anyway, they said, do you know where you're at? I said, yeah, I'm in Prescott. They said, no, you're not. You're in Phoenix. You've been in a coma. You messed your head up, buddy. What are you talking about? So anyway, the two hospitals, and they finally, after the second rehab, said, we're going to release you. Do you know where you're going to go to? I want to go to Prescott. Well, no, you can't go to Prescott.
Yeah.
So they put me in a group home. And I didn't know anything about much of that except the horrors of it. You know. And so I was taken from there and placed in another hospital, some kind of neurological hospital or something. And then I was taken from there and put in another group home, because there wasn't much I could say. I really didn't know what was going on. And so finally things are clearing up, and these people, I mean, those places can be really horrible and mean places. So I'm thinking there's got to be a way I can get my cell phone, and I gotta call 911 or something to get me out of here. So by the grace of God, there was a lady from Adult Protective Services visiting the guy in the room with me, and I asked her a few questions, and she said, "I'll get back with you," and she did, and her name was Nellie. Beautiful, beautiful woman. That's when I really began to believe in angels. She said, "We're getting you out of here. They're not even licensed." She said, "So is there anywhere you want to go?" I said, "No." She said, "There's 3 places." And she said, blah, 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 Glencroft. I said, "First come." That's all I know, first come.
Yeah, I just got to get out of here.
Get out of here, yeah. And my second angel came from here. I know it sounds silly, angel talk.
Gosh.
But I'm sitting there one day, I just got back from the Veterans Hospital, and they're telling me, "You're not going to walk again. We're keeping you in a wheelchair." And I'm like, "Oh, no." And this lady says, "Hi, Joseph, I'm so-and-so." Said, "Hello, and I'm here from Glencroft." And I heard the trumpet sound.
Oh, my gosh.
The heavens opened up.
Yes.
And I said, "But God." And she said, "When do you want to leave?" I said, "I've got to be out of here by June 1st. That was only a couple of weeks, I believe. And she said, "How would you pay?" I said, I have a Social Security and Veterans Pension and, other various incomes. And she said, "Well, can you give me a deposit today?" I said, "Yeah, let me find my checkbook."
Wow.
And so at that point, it was just gathering myself enough.
Yeah.
And to be mentally alert as to what these people were doing. And make sure they didn't come in and give me an injection.
Yeah, right.
Or give me someone else's medications.
So you had to stay cognizant enough to protect yourself.
Yes. Yes. And so it wasn't a plan to be here. I said, wherever comes first. And she walked through the door, so I said, "But God."
Yeah, but God's hand was all over that, right?
Yeah.
Like to get you to where you could thrive and work on yourself, because that's the season you're in, right? Just putting it all on yourself to get your strength back.
Yes.
Man, you are an amazing man. I mean, what you've done and what you've just like, every bit of your history has led to this moment of you have so much to lean on to help get you through right now, right? Like, and we've talked, you are currently involved in just stimulating your mind in the world of nutrition.
Yes.
Tell me real quick just about what brought you to that decision to do some ongoing continuing education in nutrition.
Well, when I was young, staying in shape wasn't an issue. I was an avid runner, weightlifter, baseball. You did it. I was, sport, I was in it, everything but hockey, because I didn't know how to ice skate. I wasn't going to try. And then when I had my surgery in 2010, and I was left paralyzed for a couple of years, I guess the VA's way of making you feel better was to just feed you like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so as time went on, I looked in the mirror one day and I said, "Who the heck is that?" I said, "Oh, that's me."
That's me, yeah.
And so after that, it was one surgery after another, illness after, and the COVID, and my longtime partner, Maggie, she left my life with a major stroke, and I never could settle down to focus on doing something or have a positive enough environment with the equipment and the professionals to assist me, because I knew I was beyond doing it for myself.
Sure.
And so again, but God. And so once I got here, that first year was dismal. I was the brain swelling was going down, but there was so much confusion.
Absolutely, yeah.
So much confusion. There were days I didn't know where I was at, didn't even know my name. So that name tag really helped out a lot. So finally things settled in, and I had tried this nutrition course before, and I failed it. I kept missing the finals by 2 points. 70 to graduate, and I hit 68 twice. So I said, Father God, if you give me the strength, you know my heart, I would like to return just to finish this.
Just to check it off your list.
Check it off my list, yes. And in the meantime, help myself.
Yep.
And if a window ever opens itself with the knowledge I gained from this, then I would be able to help others who are physically challenged, aging,
Yep.
and the waistline is growing like their age. So, and so I went online and I said, well, okay. And talking with Mark, he told me the top people to look at. He said NASM, National Athletes
Science Medicine.
Medicine, yeah. And so I looked in their program, and once you go online, all these other people pop up.
Oh, sure.
Oh, man, everybody.
Yeah.
And so I went to one Zoom seminar, and when she said, now, if you join with us, we're going to save you $2,000. I said, oh, if you're saving me $2,000.
Yeah, how much is this going to cost?
So then I thought what Mark said, NASM, and I looked at them, and I called them up. And they said, oh, you're back, are you? I said, back. They said, yeah, you were with us last year. I said, oh,
it's the same thing. Oh, my gosh.
So you're back. I said, that doesn't happen.
Mr. 68.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. I said, I want to finish this.
Yes.
And I said, I'm in a better place. I'm more stable now. And I'm in an environment that I believe is more conducive for me accomplishing these things, you know.
Yep.
And so I've begun my studies. And Mark was right. It's very challenging.
That's very good, though. Get your mind. I mean, you're a sharp guy. I mean, to get it back, get it turned on and cognizant of like learning new stuff. That's so critical in your developing your full body awareness, right?
Yes.
Getting your mind turned back on.
Yes. And let me back up real quick. While I was in the second group home, to sort of get the cobwebs cleared out, even with the brain swelling, I took some small college courses, health coach and life coach, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it was so generalized.
Yeah.
I needed something more direct to what was going to impact me,
Sure.
and that I could carry forward and say, with my story, this is how I was. This is what happened, and here I am today.
Inspire others.
Yeah. And then I end up over there with you. Well, with Mark, you know, look at this big old dude here. And then I look, and there's Michelle. And hi, I'm a student. I'm virtual and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, I see the weights. That's pretty familiar, but
right.
But God and so.
You're working your tail off over there. You've done great with Zip. We got you on the drums. We got you on the Magic Box. We got
awesome.
you. I mean, we've had some fun on these drums.
Oh, yesterday was awesome.
Yeah. We got that. We got our set list dialed in right now. We are loud and energy ridden. I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
Oh yeah.
It's all about
energy. We're going on the road.
Yeah, we are going on the road. I'm booking us a date over at Morningstar. We're taking this show on the road and show those guys how we do it. Well, man, you are an inspiration.
Thank you, Steve.
I love having people like you on to tell your story and just say there's hope out there, right? There's so many that are, for whatever season of life they're in, they can get really down. And it just shows, man, somebody that's gone through so much, and from the point of a group home being hit from every angle you couldn't even imagine.
The losses were.
To where you are now, though, in such a short amount of time, right? Like, God's good, man.
Well, can I share a scripture with you real quick?
Yes.
The Apostle Paul was sharing, and he said, let us forget the things that lie behind and press on towards the upward call of God while keeping our eye on the prize. So I every morning remember where I was, and I understand that I'm on this trajectory for the upward call of God, and I know what the prize is. So,
eye on the prize.
I'm thankful,
You're the man, buddy. Appreciate you being here.
You're welcome.
Awesome stuff. Appreciate it.